everybody, and welcome to Be Bold Branding. I'm Tanya Eberhardt, founder of BrandFace, and we help business owners, entrepreneurs, and sales professionals differentiate themselves, and we do that through personal branding. We are the only comprehensive personal brand building system across the globe.
Hi guys, I'm Michael Carr. I'm the COO of BrandFace. I was a client before I became a partner in the company, and we do Be Bold Branding to help you take the fear out of putting yourself out there. We got a fantastic guest here today, so I'm really looking forward to how this show turns out.
Yeah, you know, this is one of the most exciting guests I think we've had on this program because he's not what he seems, guys. You're going to hear all about it. His name is Bobby Gellert. And Bobby, I'm going to let you tell a little bit of your story, but I also want to say Bobby has been through our BrandFace program to become personally branded, and he's going to share his journey with you today, tell you, how things went for him, what his thought process is with regard to his new brand. But Bobby, if you don't mind, say hi to everybody and let us know like what got you into real estate and pretty much what you do.
Okay, my name is Bobby Gellert. I'm the owner of a company called Shares New York that I created in 2004. Now, I grew up on a construction site essentially because my dad was a real estate developer, and I worked on his construction sites and peers of his construction sites, and real estate was really dinner table conversation for us. I didn't know I was going to go into real estate. When I was younger, I wanted to become a professional baseball player, and that is part of my life now. But and I use a lot of baseball in analogies and in terms of team playing for my company and all of that. But real estate, right out of college, I'll try to do this really, really quick. Right out of college, I went into the bar business again, not knowing exactly what I wanted to do after college. I had an opportunity to buy into a bar business. So from 21 to 24, great experience of, running a business. And although it was the bar business, it was at nighttime, which is essentially why I got out of it. I couldn't, stare at the locals all the time, all the drinking and all of that. I decided to do something else. So what did I know most about? That was real estate. So I wrote appraisals for a couple of years. Once I wrote every type of appraisal you could write, I went to go work for a national marketing company in real estate. But we were a marketing company, and it was an auction company. And we did seal bid auctions across the United States. We did oral outcry auctions across the United States. And over the course of about 3 years, we sold about 4,500 individual single-family homes and corporate surplus assets, assets that bank owned or that corporation owned that they weren't using anymore, such as restaurants or gas stations, mostly in the Southeast and out in the far West. It is where we had most of our product. From there, once I did that for many years, a huge amount of marketing, and I really learned that I was a marketer by nature. I took all that transactional experience and I went into the private equity world. I started investing in real estate using whatever knowledge I had. And at that time, I really had very little experience, had very little capital, and it was just hard work and being a youngster that was really eager and committed and really wanted to do great things in this world, and really always had a vision of giving away more money than I ever made. And that was what really drove me. It was really like the service part of life, which is what I was really, really interested in, but I had to get there. So I got very lucky, as we all do, if we put ourselves in situations and if we are just open to things that come along. I ended up, joining my brother on a international platform of investing equity over the course of 17 years. So the last 17 years, I've been running a private equity business. But during that time, we had invested in about 10,000 individual co-op or condos in the New York tri-state area. And that's when I created this company, Shares in New York, to service the portfolios that we invested in. So I created that company from the ground up, more as a side business, but I really got to exploit all of my marketing talents by creating marketing campaigns, setting up sales offices wherever we had invested in properties, diving into the community, doing all the things that we as real estate agents know how to do. I did it just intuitively because I was forced to do it and I had to create all of this. So I got a lot of experience, plenty of scars, but that comes along with taking,
Oh yeah.
doing all that type of stuff. So 2004, this company, Shares New York, has been in business. And now we're in 2020. So about 2.5 years ago, I decided to sort of leave that private equity world and to really venture into the service business, whether it's through business or through personal endeavors. I have a couple of foundations that I have for my family and otherwise. I donate money to fix up baseball fields throughout Queens, which is a very passionate project of mine. But Shares in New York is a business passion project. And so I left Wall Street to really spend all my time on this business, which is really geared towards recruiting agents and helping them build a successful and sustainable business for themselves. So I'm a coach, I'm a mentor, I'm a business owner that is showing agents how to do not only the marketing, but how to run their business, which they don't get a lot of that really anywhere. And everyone has to pay taxes. They have to know how to have a budget. They have to know what their numbers are. What are they working for? All of that. So that's one component of it. But then it's also just being there as a resource, an available resource and a mentor, coaching them through every phase of the real estate process for an agent, from putting together a schedule, from helping them negotiate transactions, from teaching them how to, talk to certain audiences and all of that type of stuff. That's what I do every day. And my belief is that if I do this well, and which I will recruit only the agents that, fit in with the culture of what we're doing. And if they like me, and if, I feel like we can each spend, 5 hours driving on a plane across the country, if we think we won't kill each other after that, they're probably a candidate, right? I use it as a test all the time. If you can spend 5 hours with someone, they're like someone that you could work with. So really looking to build this business to service the real estate industry. And in turn, we're going to help a lot of buyers and sellers through the culture, through the platform that I created, buying and selling homes. The individual clients do that. What we do, we're marketers, right? We have to, we're not therapists, but we need to educate. We need to really show them all the different things about the business because they don't know, right? We have to provide clarity and we have to communicate that all to them. And if we do that well, we're going to really be able to service our clients well. So that's what Shares New York is. And that's what I'm looking to do. And that's why I reached out to Michael and Tanya, was to really help me figure out how to communicate all of this to the world, because in the last 2.5 years, I've been running around trying to grow a business and I've been recruiting agents. And I needed help really focusing my communication to them, which will flow down to everyone else. I could sit on a call and talk for 4 hours, but sometimes you don't have 4 hours to explain to someone. You need to be able to,
That's true.
3 minutes. And that's what they've been able to help me do.
You need the Cliff Notes version, right?
That's right.
You do.
Yeah, exactly.
You also need some passion.
Yeah. I remember when we first got on the phone with you and we're talking to you about coming into the program, you had a lot of questions.
Mm-hmm.
And they were very insightful questions, because it wasn't just about highlighting yourself as a real estate agent. Really, yours was more about building your business and creating this culture that people would be attracted to. So you have people that embrace and spread your culture everywhere. Mm-hmm. And that is, a common thing that I think our brokers and our team leaders especially, really gravitate to, because it's more than just building your bank of business. Mm-hmm. It's helping them build theirs. It's helping with that culture.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, Bobby. You sort of explained like why you reached out to us and what we tried to do. Did you find any trepidation in what we proposed, like, becoming a brand face and taking that personal branding step? Did you find any trepidation or fear in that?
No, I wasn't concerned about any of that at all. As a marketer, I'm always challenging myself and doing that type of stuff. So I wasn't concerned. I've also, since, making the decision to leave the private equity world and doing what I'm doing, I've been writing a lot of content and doing a lot of video while mm-hmm. I had no social imprint, right? As an investor, I had to protect, not that I really ever did anything wrong in my past, nothing certainly illegal, but I had, you know, I went to college. I was a kid. I did all that stuff. So I didn't have a social imprint because I was dealing with investors, pension funds, life companies, special endowments. And for their protection, I couldn't put myself out there at risk.
Right.
Things should just come out of the woodworks, right? So I was always very careful about that, right? But for me, when I decided to do this, I now have a Facebook account, a YouTube account. I have, you know, Instagram accounts. I have all the social media. So I've been out there. So I wasn't nervous about that at all. What I was nervous about, if there was anything, was as a business owner and always on the phone, and, you know, talking to companies like yourself. You know, there's always a shiny object coming by that all brokers are looking at. Should I do it? Should I not do it? Do I have the money to pay for it? Right? I'm always taking demos and talking to companies and trying to figure out what it is that's going to work for my platform, because I really want to be the best in the business. So I'm always doing stuff like that. I have some scars for it. I've gone down the road to where I've signed on to things and it wasn't what was sold to me. And I knew that my situation was a little dynamic. So as you pointed out, I asked a lot of tough questions. I wanted to talk to whoever I could talk to. So I knew that within the company, everyone knew what I was trying to do, so that if we ever got to a point to where I was like, guys, we had this conversation. You told me you're going to be able to do X, Y, and Z.
Right.
Be athletic. You're not athletic, but fortunately, and I knew this going in from all the conversations I had, you guys made me at ease. We communicated enough to where I knew that I could count on you to deliver, and you did all those great things. So to me, that was the only thing, which may be atypical, but I was concerned that I was going to run into some typical stumbling blocks to where I wasn't going to be able to finish because the company that I was working with wasn't able to deliver.
We're so glad we could help with that.
Yes. And I got to say, I just got to add it in. You're a fantastic client. Like just so everybody knows, like Bobby, like hit the ground running, because that was part of the deal.
We love it.
He's like, look, I got to get this done.
That's right.
I'm not wasting time. I'm going through this program as fast as possible.
Yeah.
And he did.
He held our feet to the fire. He said, Tanya, I got to get out of here by this date.
Yep.
I got to try hard to get out of here. And I said, I
Don't.
can't necessarily promise you that specific date, but we will get as close as we can, and we will hustle on our end.
Mhm.
And we all made it happen together. So thank you.
That is all true. That is all true.
Yeah. So let's talk about your brand for a moment. As most people, you know, that have heard of BrandFace before know, we kind of start our process by really deep, you know, diving deep and looking at your challenges, what you're trying to accomplish, who your ideal customers are, what sets you apart. And we come up with what we call a brand identifier to kind of set the tone and direction for the brand. Tell everybody what your brand identifier is and how you feel it really fits you.
My brand identifier is purpose-driven performance. Now, you know, I know BrandFace likes to use, you know, identifiers with a lot of initials that start off their words for a lot of good reasons. It makes sense for marketing and all of that. So I wasn't, when I first heard it, I was like, wow, a lot of P's. And I was like, you know, what I really loved about it was that you picked words that altogether it forces someone to ask questions, right? Because then as marketers, as salespeople, then we're at our best, because we could take them down different angles, see what they're connecting with, and we can really control that conversation. We can start to ask them questions, which is really where we want to be. We want to be controlling the conversation and controlling the question. So if you have someone that's interested, if you pique their interest, that's exactly what you want. And further, what I loved was that use typical words, you know, that you would think. That's what causes the question. If they use other typical words, it would have been like, oh, I get it, understand it. It's so, you know, trite and common. I wanted no part of that, and they knew that. So
Right.
together, they created everything I was looking for. But when I first heard it, I was like, what? I was even like, what? And we had this conversation back then, and we talked it through. And I'm like, that's fantastic. And the more I started thinking about it and understanding it, the more I was able to really develop it. And I know how I'm going to use it. And we'll get to it probably later in this conversation on what I'm doing and how I'm using and how I'm utilizing last 4 or 5 weeks that we've spent together on this brand and how I'm launching it. I'm really excited to show you what I'm doing, but I'm going to show you when I'm done. But I'm already taking it much further.
Nice.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. So what did you think was the easiest part of the branding process?
Well, the easiest part of the branding process, I guess, was for me, maybe I went for the higher end of what the offerings are. One, on a quick time frame. Two, I wanted more of a turnkey process, and I know your company has different tiers, so it's available to anyone and everyone at different levels depending on available capital to do this sort of a thing. So I went for the highest tier, so I was able to do it the quickest, and I was able to, have meetings like this where I was able to just like spew out all this information, where it was recorded, and your team was able to dive through it, piece it together, which is what you're a professional at. If I to really write all the, as a guy building a company and having my hand and hats into many different things, I just couldn't spend the time. I could have, but it sped it up for me and much more effective for me. If I was an agent where my whole world was just like running my business alone, maybe I would have done like a lower a tiered, because I have more time. I can answer those questions. And for me, I wanted to jumpstart it by answering the questions. It's a very cathartic process. I already knew the answers. I didn't have to like think through it. So for me, it wasn't like I had to like look at a question and be like, ooh, how do I answer that? For me, I was sprinting as soon as you asked me a question. I was throwing information. So as an agent or a newer agent, you probably have to spend more time getting through it. And it may be harder to be one-on-one answering providing the answer because you don't have the answer yet. And that's okay. That's why you're going through the process, right? So for me, the easiest thing was just hitting it, running through it, and letting you guys really create the mold, which is what you did great.
Well, good.
I like that.
Excellent.
I like that.
Now, what was the hardest? I got to ask that. Like, if I asked the easiest, what was the hardest you think out of the program?
I really don't know if I had a hardest part.
Good answer.
It was really
Very good answer.
It was really very easy for me. I mean, proof is in the pudding. The hardest part was waiting to be done.
Right.
That's so true.
I knew I wanted to run, and there's a process, right? And being a business owner and being through these things before, I know I have to let things play out. So I had to let you go through your process. You had to come back to me. We had to like mold it and keep growing it and taking it to the different stages. So for me, the hardest part was waiting until we were done. Although I knew the process all throughout. I even did 2 photo shoots instead of 1 photo shoot, right? Like I did whatever was necessary to make it the best as it could be.
Well, you sum it up so good. Tanya says it all the time. There's the only way to get around it is to go through it, right? And we can tarry if we want, but if you want to be on the other side, just run full bore at it because you got to go.
That's so true.
And that's really and truly the best way to do it.
That's so true.
No matter really what we're talking about, but especially in the branding process. And, you were a very driven person, obviously, and that's the key to a huge key to your success. You knew what you wanted, you went after it. And it's been really great to work with you.
Yeah. So Bobby, let's dive a little bit deeper real quick into purpose-driven performance. Tell us in your words what that means and what people should know about that, because just hearing those 3 words is awesome and it kind of does set the tone. But, as they'll see little samples as we're going through this video, they'll see sampling of some of your brand imagery and things. But I want you to tell them what that means to you and what message you're trying to portray with that.
So in the beginning of the first question, the reason I went into the background of sort of what I did right out of school going until today was I wanted to sort of provide a timeline of sort of how I got here, right? And for me, as Michael just said, I'm a very driven person, and everything I do has purpose, right? When I got out of school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew that I had some expertise or some intuitive knowledge because of growing up on construction sites. I went into real estate. So I knew I had a purpose. I didn't know how I was going to use that. And you just drag that through the whole thing. I use my driven personality and my goals of, you know, wanting to give more money away than I make in my lifetime, which is a really important thing to me. And then what does it come down to? It comes down to performance. It comes down to execution. So you got to have a purpose. And that's what I'm talking to my agents about. What is your purpose? What are you looking to do? This is why we need a budget. This is why we have to talk about numbers. We have to talk about your business, right? Are you committed? Are you driven? If you're not committed, you can't do this part-time. You have to do this full-time, and you have to be. So what is your daily schedule? What are you committed to? How are you driven? And then it's the performance. It's like, what are your tactics? What is your execution? How are you going to do all the things you have to do? Because, you know, as a realtor, you can't do everything in one day. You have to have a schedule. And if it's not written down, if you're not looking at it, or if it's not on your schedule, you're certainly not doing it that day. So you have to have a schedule, and you change it up. You can make it different every day, but you have to have something to work with. So, you know, all of those things like intertwined, you know, works for the agents. Then it also works for my seller clients. You know,
There you go.
why are you selling? What have you thought about? Like, are you relocating? Are you downsizing? Like, what are you looking to do? What are the goals here? Are you looking to maximize price? Are you looking to do this as quick as possible, right? So purpose-driven performance works for, you know, any of my recruits conversations I'm having, or any of my seller conversations, or buyer conversations for that matter. It's such a dynamic mix of words, and I can play it up and down the spectrum. And, you know, doing what I do, and, you know, over the last 17, 20 years, operating at the level that I operate, you know, running the private equity business, I know how to talk to different audiences, right?
Right.
I can talk to a recruit, a buyer, and a seller in an hour in 3 different conversations, and be able to use, you know, this purpose-driven performance mantra into all of that type of stuff, which is really important. Like, the best thing is, all of these skills and all this is like part of the culture of the company, and what it is that I'm going to be talking to the agents about. They're going to be able to do this because it's what we do. It's how we do it here. And what's been great, you've been able to help me sort of see that. When before I knew it, but you helped me organize it, and you helped me so I can actually say it to people, which has been really, really helpful.
I love that part,
Yeah.
because when that was a goal, you know, with you coming into the program, was when our team was working on it, our objective was to come up with brand messaging and imagery that would fit both sides, both the agents you were trying to recruit and the buyers and sellers, so that no matter who read that, it speaks to them.
Yep.
And we were able to all pull that together collectively. So tell me, how do you feel your brand, if it's possible, Bobby, how's your brand made you feel bolder?
It's made me feel bolder in a sense of, I've taken what I'm doing every day and moved it 100% from me, right, towards recruiting, right, which is really what the mission of the company is, which helping agents, you know, build a successful and prosperous business for themselves and their families, right? But when just starting out 2 years ago, I didn't have any agents. So I had to be an agent, and I needed to bring in business. And through that, I started meeting agents. I wanted everything to grow organically. So I wasn't out there, you know, trying to hire agents. I don't think we hire them. I think we recruit them. They work at our company. It's their own business, their own brand. So what this process has emboldened me to do is to say, okay, you have 4 agents now. Stop being a realtor. That's not what you set out to do. Go build your business, right? For me, now I have to rely on the agents making money for themselves, so eventually the business can make money to support the business. If the business is supporting and making money, then I'll make money. So I'm lowest guy on the food chain as the owner of the company. I got to do all these things for everyone else, which is what feels so good, right? That's what I'm so excited about, right? I get to make all those things happen. And then if all those things happen the right way, it starts to work out for me, which is, my wife will be happy, right? So then I'm really going to be happy, right? So, but that's the overall plan. But what this process has emboldened me to do it's enabled me to make the shift. And it's about infinite mindset, right? Make the shift to 100% of like my time is focused on recruiting. Believe me, I'm split up into 1,000 different pieces because I have those 4 agents, and it may not seem like a lot, but the amount of time that I spend with them and what I've committed to them to do every day, it's, you know, and I think I can handle 10, 15 at a time of people that I'm bringing. Right? Once they get to a certain level, they're not going to need me as much, but they're going to be happy staying with me because of everything I've done for them and the resources I provide and the comfort that they have, the security that they feel, all of that, which is really what the culture of the company is, right? So it all works together. You just have to believe and you just have to go do it. But this process has really emboldened me to like make that move, which if I didn't do this, I would have done it. I can't say I would have done it as quickly as I did.
Very good. And let me ask you this, like now that you have your brand and you also have, we put that thought process into it. We dug deep to find out who Bobby was, what made Bobby Bobby, and then brought that person in there. How do you feel like it set you apart and helped you to secure business in all the ways that you want to go?
Well, going to this next phase that I am at now in terms of building this website, I'm now getting into all that detail of writing down like my toolbox, the core services, the culture, taking all of this, using these words and everything we created to really drill further down. Like when I show this to you, you guys are going to be proud. You're going to be like, wow, this is like part your baby, part my baby, right? You're going to be like, oh my God, look at what we helped him create, right? So you're going to see it. I'm going to ask you this question then, right? That's what that's what it is. Like I'm getting there and I'm getting into it, but it's just flowing now, which is really great. What we're working on now is videos and imagery and how this lays out and how we're going to use it for marketing to the recruits as we start talking to people. Same things for the sellers also. But like I was doing tons of video before, my video is going to have more purpose now, right? I'm going to create, instead of doing 30 videos, create 3 videos with a bunch of copy around it and make it have more purpose, make it perform better, right? As opposed to having a lot of videos that don't perform all that well, do things like a little bit more specific and goal-oriented.
I love it.
Purpose-driven.
Purpose-driven. Yeah. Do you feel like it's giving you focus now and yeah, sort of brought that shotgun approach down into a rifle approach type of
100%.
analogy?
Yeah. I would always be comfortable in talking to people and doing all of that, but this certainly helped me focus my communication, plus, which is more important to me, focus my efforts, right? Because we only have so much time. So to focus my efforts to really grow the business, because what I realized through the process was that my business is really going to grow as I have more people. Yeah, fine for the business to grow in economically and making more money, but that's not the goal of the company, right? The company will make money, but it's about growing it for the agents, right? Done the right way. It's going to probably make more money than if I was just doing it myself, because I can only do so much, right? If I have 30 agents, it's doing a lot more than I can ever do.
Your brand is a soldier for you. Your agents are soldiers for the brand.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's how it all works. Well, I would be remiss if I did not bring this part up, which was one of the things that fascinated us about you in the very beginning, was you are a purpose-driven individual. Like I felt like when we got on the phone after we pared everything down and said, okay, here's what we would like to run with. And I said to you that day, I feel like your everything you do is with purpose. And one of the things that really stood out in my mind was something we wanted to weave into the brand as well, which is a personal thing for you, because this is personal branding. And I want you to tell everybody about your mindful meditation approach that you have done now for how many days is it now?
Almost 2,000 days.
I started to say it was about 1,900 days, it was a little over that when we first started working on this. Tell them about that and how that factors into things, because you had a concern about weaving that into the brand, but we said, wait, this is who you are. This is part of who you are and part of what makes you so purposeful.
Yeah. So I have a deep yoga meditation practice, and I've been meditating since I'm 25 years old. But about 5 years ago for a variety of reasons. I started doing a very specific meditation, something called 1 minute breath, where at this point I inhale for 20 seconds, I hold it for 20 seconds, and I exhale for 20 seconds. And I've gotten very into mindfulness and meditation. And doing that meditation every day and being committed to something like that, where you wake up in the morning. I do this at 5 o'clock every day, 5 a.m. every morning, weekends, vacations. I've done it on the airplane because I'm taking a red eye, whatever it is. 5 o'clock, I get up and I do this meditation. But what that is that's a meditation where, you know, forget about the details of like how I do it, and I'll be happy to talk to anyone about this at any time. And I've infused this into my company where, you know, everyone has to meditate for at least 3 minutes a day. Some people are doing it for much longer at this point. I talk to sellers about this and buyers because they're always all stressed, and we get into mindfulness conversations that helps into our contract negotiations and all of that. So I've infused it into all of like my business practices. But what it really is when you commit that time to yourself, it's really amazing what you get to learn about yourself when you're doing that. Because really what meditation is it's time connecting with yourself. And a lot of people are like, I don't know how to do it. I have all these thoughts coming to me, 1,000 thoughts a minute. So I just get up and I stop. But that's where you start. I mean, it doesn't happen in a day. I've been doing it for 5 years now, every single day. And I still struggle with thoughts coming in and out. It's a daily struggle. We all have things on our mind, but if you're able to connect with yourself and in those moments be like, oh, this actually feels good. That house is quiet. You know, what is it that I really want to do like with my life? You start having those conversations with yourself. So instead of thoughts about the dry cleaners, or I have this client today or that client, you start thinking about stuff. I don't want to say that stuff doesn't matter, right? That stuff matters in its place, but we start thinking about the things that really matter to us, our families, our kids sleeping. You want them to get up so you can just go have breakfast with them. You know, people go to the gym early in the morning. That's the time that they spend with themselves. That's really, really important to do, because once you create that time for yourself, the next thing that happens is you start creating time for other people, right? And that's when empathy starts to really come into your life, which is a really, really, really powerful thing. Once you start thinking about other people and how you could help other people, whether it's time or money, right? A lot of times people think, and I believe this, you know, time is more important than money. People can always write a check and send it in, but
that's so true.
If you provide your time, people actually appreciate that a lot more. And time could be making a phone call to someone to just say hello or ask them how they're doing. Like those type of things are really, really important. And those are the things you start to think about, you know, after that meditation, that ambrosial hour between, you know, 4 a.m. and 7 a.m. every day. Very, very special time. So that is a huge part of my life. It's a huge part of my wife's life. She's now on her practice, I think she had a commitment for 1,000 days. So I think she's at somewhere around 700, 750 days, somewhere around there. So what I was doing sort of worked off onto her. Now she's doing it. My kids aren't exactly meditating.
Not yet.
Not yet.
But there, my daughter, my 15-year-old daughter just went on a service trip to the DR over spring break. She didn't go on a family vacation. She went to the DR to help build a school. My younger daughter, for the last 3 years, has been doing, you know, Marley Saves Christmas, and she raises money through a variety of different ways, and she sends presents to wherever there's been a tragedy in this world, to, you know, Puerto Rico through the hurricanes and stuff. She sends presents to a church to give to the kids. So from that meditation, all of this stuff happens, and the more people you talk to and touch, it spreads, and it spreads fire, and it's really, really important. So I'm happy to talk to anyone about meditation, yoga, mindfulness, business, not business, whatever. It's a really important thing in my life. I'm glad you asked me about this. What I was nervous, I shouldn't say I was nervous about it. I have no ego, and that's a very important thing, which you learn from meditation. Ego goes right out the door. But, you know, even in today's day and age, people still sort of think yoga, meditation, it's cultish, you know, you want to really get involved in that. It still has sort of a little stigma to it, why everyone always wearing white and long beards and, you know, all the turbans and all that type. I mean, I don't get mixed up in that. That's all just sort of static and doesn't really mean anything. I don't have to go to Tibet to meditate. I do it every morning at my bed in a hooded sweatshirt with a blanket over me, and it works. I don't have to get on Lululemon pants and, you know, get all fancy, right? You can do it in your underwear in your bedroom. It's totally fine. All you're doing is breathing, right? There's a way to do it. I'm not going to get into all that now, but yeah. So it's really important. So it's in my company through the culture. I talk to buyers and sellers about it. I've done it at closings, and it eases the moment for other people, which again, it's service. And if I can continue that, offer that to people, I've won. Without even trying to win, I've won. So,
and we knew that there was no way we could build a brand and not represent that somewhere in your brand.
Right.
Because it's who you are, and it's where that purposeful, you know, part of you and the mindful part of you comes through. So it's been an honor to work with you on that, Bobby, for those reasons and more. So we appreciate you. I got one last question for you.
Sure.
Okay, so so you might not have, you know, been afraid of anything. You might have been a bold person coming into it, but there are a lot of people out there right now, whether they're business owners or entrepreneurs or sales professionals, and they have some trepidation about putting themselves out there and how will this go. And so what would you say to people that are just thinking about this, about becoming a brand face? What would you tell them?
Well, I mean this very seriously, and I touched on it earlier about why I didn't have a social imprint, and now I do have a social imprint. I personally think, and I talk to a lot of people every day, and I know the two of you agree with what I'm about to say, forward, you know, into the next decades, our business, being a realtor, being a broker, whatever we want to call ourselves, intermediary, you know, there's an old way of doing things and a new way of doing things. And content, whether written or content video, is really, really important. And you have to be out there. You have to be able to be vulnerable. You have to be able to connect with people. Our business isn't about knocking on doors and cold calling 300 people anymore. You could do that. I think it's a waste of time. People, because there's so much information out there, people expect a little more. They want to know who you are before they work with you. And the only way to do that is to be out there. And what BrandFace does is it empowers you with the information to be able to communicate who you are and what you are, which you can then use to create the video and create the content. So if you're really committed to this business and you want to be in this business, you need to start doing those things. And I'm telling you, BrandFace could really help you organize your thoughts. And I'll also reaffirm that once you get comfortable with it and who you are, your brand, and what you're going to communicate, you're not going to be able to stop yourself from writing content and doing video. You're just going to feel it, and you're going to have that confidence, which is really what Michael and Tanya show you how to do. And it's really, really, really important. And even I'll go even further, just in terms of the time period we are. Unfortunately, we have this coronavirus going around right now. People are quarantined, right? And I don't know how long this is going to last. Certainly the next two weeks, it could be the next 4 weeks of quarantine, and there's going to be some time after that. So this is a great time to be working on your business in any form or fashion. Things you can't do regularly because you're always running around and you don't have time, you should be working on your business. I would say if one of your issues is I just don't have the time to do BrandFace, you have the time. You actually have the time right now. You have at least the next 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks. If you liked anything you've heard today, or you could Google Tanya and Michael and see what they do with other people, I would say if you're thinking about doing this, just jump right in. You're not going to lose anything. You're certainly only going to gain, and you have the time now. You certainly have the time. There are really no excuses. There really shouldn't be any excuses. So if you're thinking about it, I would just jump right in and do it. You're going to thank me, Michael and Tanya, and yourself, more importantly, later.
We appreciate
Thank
that.
you so much, Bob.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Because we love it. Like honestly and truly, we get to do this and work with people like you and work with people all over the country and all over the world that want to grow great organizations that helps so many people. It helps their clients. It helps the people working for them. It helps people working with them. It is it's a good spirited thing, and you portray that better than anybody. You are the quintessential personal brander, Bobby, and it's been a joy working with you. We can't wait to see where it goes from here. Cannot wait. Yeah.
Me too.
And thank you for sharing everything with us today and sharing your purpose.
Yep.
Thank you. I'm grateful to both of you. I'm sure we're going to be staying in close contact, and I am very excited to show you this website when it's finished.
We can't wait.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it.
We can't wait. We're already proud. I know we'll be even prouder. Thank you so much, Bobby.
Okay.
All right, folks, to everybody out there, listen, if you got any questions about branding, like Bobby said, you know, if you're on the fence, if you're thinking about it, if you've just heard branding and you want to figure out what this thing is, you can go to discussyourbrand.com and book a free 30-minute session with our staff, and they love to talk about it, right? It's not a sales pitch, it's talking about branding and where you are in the process of that. Discussyourbrand.com. So I encourage you to go there.
Yeah, and even further, I'm happy if anyone you guys talk to, if you want, it's okay with me. I'll tell you now. You can give out my phone number or email address. I'm happy to talk to anyone to answer any of their questions as a referral or anything like that. Happy to try to help in any way possible.
Thank you so much.
You
Bobby.
rock, Bobby. We
Thank
appreciate you so much.
Okay,
So much.
cool.
All right, guys. So if you want to learn more, if you are a business owner, entrepreneur, go to, we have a dedicated Facebook page called Build Your Business Star Brand. Click to join there, and we're standing by to let you in. And if you are a real estate professional, go to Build Your Real Estate Brand Facebook group and join there. All right. So you'll get access and content in those groups that you will not get anywhere else. Bobby, you're awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
Michael.
sir.
Everyone be safe.
Yes.
You got it. See you next time on Be Bold Branding.